Sandy Cove Cottage is a charming stone house nestled on a grassy slope above a secluded beach, with woodlands stretching up over the hills behind it. A view from the picture window, which looks out over the bay, perfectly encapsulates the phrase, "getting away from it all." From here, you can see the calm sea in a peaceful bay, where the gulls call and the waves lap the shore in contemplation. The scene is a living reminder that there is a world outside the hustle and bustle of daily life. Everything here, the sea, the open sky, the beach, has a gentleness about it. And we have all the time in the world to enjoy it. Before we begin, I think it's nice to start with a little wind down. Tonight's wind down is a visualization. So, when you're ready, let's begin. Just take a moment to get comfortable, letting go of the day, enjoying that feeling of having stopped, of having nothing left to do. We're going to focus the attention of the mind on the different parts of the body, watching as the muscles in the body switch off for the night, leaving the body feeling rested and leaving the mind more at ease. So, starting down at the toes, and just to sense the muscles switching off. The feet, the arches, all those muscles switching off. Same in the lower half of the legs. So any tension being let go of as the muscles switch off, shut down. In the upper half of the legs, any tension melting away, being let go of. Into the area of the hips, the pelvis. Again, any muscles shutting down for the night. Completely at rest. Everything from the waist down is heavy, at ease. Muscles in the lower back and the stomach now switching off. Middle of the back, around the diaphragm, the upper back and the chest. So any muscles not needed, shutting down, switching off for the night. The shoulders, switching off. The upper half of the arms and the lower half of the arms switching off. hands, fingers, just switching off. Any muscles around the throat and the neck, switching off. The head, face, the jaw, the eyes. Any last areas of tension melting away as the muscles shut down, switch off, at rest for the night. And allowing thoughts to come and go. Allowing the mind and body the space they need to rest. As you drove down the winding hill, through the forest, to get to the cottage, a feeling of peace descended amid the soothing green light of the trees and the scent of wild garlic. Occasionally, an overgrown bush or stray bough would brush against the sides of your car with a pleasant, somehow encouraging rustle, as if to say, nearly there. And in the background, beyond the sound of the car's engine and its tires crunching as they rolled over the stony ground, if you listened closely, maybe, just maybe, you could hear the sounds of the secretive, rarely seen creatures dwelling in this magical, verdant environment. The patter of a fox's paws, the call of an owl, the squeak of a mouse. Maybe if you listened really hard, you'd have heard a faint whisper of a distant wave arriving in the bay, retreating, and then returning. And then you emerge from the woods into the crisp seaside air and found sandy Cove Cottage waiting for you, and beyond it, the ever so tranquil sea. There's a mild chill on the breeze, perfectly comfortable in the front room of the cottage, where a fire is crackling softly in the grate, and there's a cushioned window nook for you to settle into, with a splendid view of the beach. For a moment, the beach you're gazing out at is completely deserted. A sweep of pale sand, dotted with pebbles and shells, and the occasional tangle of seaweed. The tide is going out, and the sand looks a little shy somehow, freshly exposed. It's streaked with ragged lines of damp closest to the shoreline, where it's been most recently underwater. The bay itself is horseshoe-shaped, small and sheltered enough to be called a cove, with a low curve of rock on each side, like a pair of arms reaching out to embrace the sea. But the sea isn't won over so easily and keeps slipping away. A coastal path runs in both directions across the top of the beach. It's part of a picturesque trail that winds its way along the whole southern edge of the country. To the right of the bay, where the coastal path meets a path down to the beach, a small, scruffy-looking dog appears. He or she pauses there, appearing to sniff the air, then barks once, joyfully, and charges down onto the beach. Soon after, the dog's owner appears, an older man in hiking gear. He casts an appreciative glance at the cottage. Such a charming house in such an enviable location always attracts the attention of passers-by. Then, he turns back towards the beach, raising his voice to call out, "Are you having fun, Lottie?" Lottie has run into the sea and paddled her way out again. She's inspected a piece of seaweed. She's chased a large and unimpressed gull which lifted effortlessly into the air as she futilely snapped her jaws on the ground beneath it. She's ready to return any stick just as soon as it's thrown. She's definitely having fun. It's hypnotic, gazing at the sea, and this evening the waves are so calm. They gather themselves up as they approach the shore, the smooth water flickering through shades of dark and light as it rolls forward. How steadying it is to observe the motion of these waves, their rhythm as regular as breath. The sea sighs gently each time it reaches the shore, as if the waves can't help but keep repeating to each other, "What bliss!" Such is their state of relaxation. It doesn't even seem appropriate to call them waves. They're more like ripples, one gently enfolding another as they stretch out over the sand, before being drawn back in again, caught up in that ancient loving tug of war between the earth and the moon. How odd. Suddenly, you notice there's a family of ducks out there, bobbing on the water. A speckled brown mallard and her ducklings. They're not the sort of ducks you usually see in the sea. They're quite close to the shore, just floating merrily out there, riding the gentle waves. There's a large pond next to the cottage, just above the beach, so perhaps they've ventured over from there. You can just about see the pond from your window. It's overhung romantically at one end by a weeping willow and is dotted all around its banks with white water lilies. Their pointed leaves open to reveal yellow centers. Lucky ducks to have two different lovely homes so close together. The room you're sitting in is such a cozy spot for sea gazing. Opposite you, the fire flickers orange and white in the grate, making quick snapping sounds that remind you unexpectedly of rain. To your left, one wall is entirely lined with books. You can see a number of guidebooks about the local area. A set of leather-bound encyclopedias, one volume for every 2 or 3 letters of the alphabet, and what looks like an extensive collection of paperback fiction. You'd never be short of something to read here. Not that you need a distraction. You're happy enough just watching the sea. The chunky stone fireplace is topped with a mantelpiece on which are displayed a pair of matching black and white dog figurines, one at each end as if guarding the large painting that hangs above them. These types of ornaments are sometimes known as hearth spaniels. The painting is a serene, abstract piece with layers of blue and white, just like the sea it's looking out at. Far off, where the headland on either side of the bay meets the open sea, an ocean liner can be seen gliding smoothly along the horizon. Wherever it's going, it's in no hurry at all. While you stare out at the ship, wondering where it's headed and who its passengers might be, your eye is caught by some movement in the water a little nearer the shore. You've been told dolphins have occasionally been spotted here, but you didn't imagine you'd be so lucky as to see any. As you watch, holding your breath, the gleaming backs of 2 dolphins arc out of the water, once, and then again, and then again, like a synchronized swimming routine going on just for you. It happens so quickly, you can hardly believe it. In the distance, the ship lets out a low blast of its horn, as if to acknowledge this momentous occasion. And then, all is quiet again. Well, all except for the lulling sound of the sea. From the left side of your view, a jogger appears. A middle-aged woman in colorful sportswear who cuts a bright and surprising figure beside the relatively muted color palette of the beach. She slows as she reaches the sand and pauses to stretch. The sun has slipped away, but not without an elaborate goodbye. The sky is flushed a hazy pink, with a deep blue sunk into it where the horizon meets the sea. Colors are slowly seeping into each other, impatient to be mixed more thoroughly. There's a softness to the light that makes you feel cared for and sleepy. The jogger must feel the same way, because she's taken off her running shoes and is walking barefoot along the edge of the water, letting the waves wash over her feet. She disappears from view, and you stare out at the sunset again, letting its gentle mood take hold of you. Over to the right, beyond the bay, you can see the coastline stretching into the distance. If you were to follow the coastal path along the top of this beach and the adjacent one, you would find yourself walking up the hill you can see now. A steep, green slope populated by a large flock of sheep, who would likely peer at you nervously as you passed by, and perhaps trot off to a safe distance, such is their timidity. On the summit of the hill is perched a lighthouse, a tall white tower with two bright red bands around its middle to make it as visible as possible. From your vantage point, it looks like a large candy cane stuck into the hillside, or a stick of seaside rock. Out of use now, it still serves as a local tourist attraction for anyone who fancies climbing its 100 steps. Right now, you can see a couple of walkers, just dots really, slowly making their way up the hill, and another dot running ahead of them, the dog, who seems well behaved enough not to be bothering the sheep. As for you, you're just leaning back, comfortable cushions of your window seat, savoring the view. Just outside, on the small stretch of grass that gives onto the beach, several birds are standing or tottering about, managing to look both elegant and gawky in the manner of their species. It must be the combination of their spindly legs with their sleek plumage and the smartness of their markings. Their bodies are clean and white, shading to grey on the wings, but their heads are a velvety brown. A darker line circles the birds' white necks, where the brown begins, as if their heads have been coloured in with ink, or as if each bird has donned a snugly fitted hood. These are black-headed gulls, but in fact, they only wear these hoods during the summer for their breeding season, so they won't be black-headed for much longer. Soon, they'll lose these darker feathers and step out in their winter plumage. Wrap up warm, friends. As though summoned by an invisible signal, the birds take flight simultaneously, wings wide, feet tucked away, and off they glide toward the sea. Feeling sleepy, you close your eyes for a moment to let the sounds of Sandy Cove, the waves outside and the fire indoors, wash over you. It's funny to notice how similar they are. After a time, the shush and hush of the water merges with the snap and crackle of the flames, until it almost seems as though they could be coming from the one source. In the background, perhaps you can just make out the faint cries of seagulls and the rustling of trees in the wind. And what about all the other noises beyond your hearing that add to the resonance of this special place? If you listen really carefully, maybe you'll be able to sense them. All these sounds together, quietly playing a lullaby just for you.